You guys do you like me?
No comment?
I'll decide after this episode.
I woke up very unhappy, very scared, just very scary, scared, really scary. Was I really scared? Yes. I had like weird feelings in the pit of my stomach before it even started.
I'm scared.
Crick, crick, crick.
Too much monkey business.
You know what that was?
A song with
That's
emphysema.
That's me getting all wound up today. You know why? You guessed it, everybody. The bad boys of horror are back, and we're really monkeying around tonight.
Drumroll, please.
We're back. It's the 17th episode of 2 Men and a Baby, the horror movie review show where three best friends discuss a new horror movie each episode. Now, this bandana brandishing bad boy right here is your handsome host, Will Dubs.
Wrote all the alliteration and compliments for himself. Let's hear what he's got for us.
I've got so much alliteration about the pop. Pippity pop off, you know what I'm saying? As usual, joined to my right by Brendan Fletcher, musician, fellow horror historian, here to tickle your ears and maybe some other stuff while dropping some filthy flex facts on your ass.
Not sure about the tickling.
Yeah, and no alliteration with that at all, but okay.
You tickle my
Fancy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then to my left, we have comedian and titular baby,
Tickler.
Abby Krinsky, making people laugh, but also he's here to, tell everybody how scary the movie is. This week, we're actually covering the first 2025 release
Ever.
of the year.
Is it the one? Is it the first one we're covering of 2025?
Because our last episode that I know you guys all listened to was Nosferatu, which was late 2024.
That is fair.
We're
That
not
is
that
fair.
behind.
That actually is fair.
Some would argue that December is late part of the year.
And it is March, so to think that there hasn't been a horror
It is
movie.
March.
Well, I'm going to march on to the rest of my sentence.
You're going to march to the beat of your own drum.
Anyway,
Ouch.
first
Thanks,
2025 release we're covering is The Monkey, based on Stephen King's short story of the same name and written and directed by Osgood Perkins. So it's the first movie of 2025, and it's the second movie of a guy.
First, second movie of a guy. That's a great sentence.
By an Osgood.
Yeah.
Osgood thing, it's time for Brendan to hit his theme song.
Can we hear it?
Let's get perked up.
Tickle them ears.
2 men and a baby, oh yeah. 2 men and a motherfucking baby.
All right. So before we dive into the segments and kind of move the show along, does anybody want to talk about their viewing experience?
So me and Will went to AMC 34th Street together with Michelle. Shout out, Michelle.
Super shout out Michelle, who is now very lovingly
Double that shout out. Michelle's
taking over
on the
our
team. So we have the turnaround rate of about one person per episode that says they'll help us with our show.
Turnover is not good.
Turnover is high. This is like the Knicks the last few games, am I right? So she came with us to see The Monkey. We show up. Me and Will are both like, in our heads, we're going to be there on time. We're both running extremely late. We know that there's a lot of previews, so we should be all right. Will's texting and Will's a bad person to be as late as, and he's texting like, oh shit, I'm just getting off now, but I'm sprinting. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm still on the train, but I'm close. So Will gets to the theater entrance before me. He's sprinting. He's like, I'm sweating, dude. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to hustle too. So I hustle up. I'm like, I'm the latest. It's 18 minutes now past the start time, which everyone knows the movie doesn't start for at least 20 minutes. We'll get into that. But I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm the last one. I can't believe it. And I walk in and I almost pass and I see Will alone on a line for the AMC bar.
I wasn't alone, or else I wouldn't have had it. Oh, I was.
You were 100% alone. He was just standing there being
there
like,
was no
I wonder.
Bartender.
Well, he doesn't
There
count.
wasn't a bartender yet. You were just standing there.
There was no one even
there was
tending
no one
the bar.
there. He was already 20 minutes late. He sprinted so that he could wait to maybe get a drink.
Okay.
He's like, all right, fuck it. I'll go in with you, Abby. And then, like, as we're walking in, he's like, sees a guy, and he's like, no, I see a guy. I got to run back to find the bartender.
And then when I got there, somebody got in front of me, so I had to wait. People decided to order the most elaborate Island Blue Rush vodka silts, whatever. Yeah. But then a second bartender comes, and I was like, listen, I'm kind of like definitely late. How long here are the previews? And the first guy goes, 15 minutes, and like...
Which means you're fucked.
The woman then just talks way over him and is like, it's 22 minutes. I was like, I like her answer way better. And at 3:22 on the dot, the movie started, and I had two 24-ounce Trulies.
Yeah, at 3:22 o'clock, I'm looking up like, all right, I'm finally comfortable. I got my popcorn. I see Will just like smushing in by everybody, the two largest drinks possible. He sits down, breathing heavy, opening the things. It's just like, it's classic Will. Oh, on the way in, he goes, text me when the preview's end. I was like, no, I'm
Yeah,
not
he
going to
said
do
no.
that. And then also, he's like, immediately, he's like sitting down. He's like moving things. He's like, oh, dude, do you have something I could put my gum in? And he like needs a piece of garbage now for me and Michelle. He's just,
I was thinking, well, now I should offer Abby one of these two, even if you said no, just to make a point of
that would've been
well,
sweet.
now who's happy that I went to the bar? But then I decided I was too worried you might say yes.
I probably would have.
And then I would have
Yeah.
only
Only
24
one 24
ounces of Truly to last the whole movie.
And to be fair, the last thing I'll say is as much shit as I want to talk about Will, like, oh, he needs 2 24 ounces. It's 3 p.m. Like, I also did sneak in a Kratom soda to
Yeah,
that
I think you were more
movie.
fucked up
They
than I was.
sell those at
And I'm not a big Kratom head, but I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's a special occasion. We're going to see a movie and then Sloppy Boys. So I got a Kratom soda. And it was good. And then by about an hour into the movie, I was like, I want to just lay here.
Yeah. Wait, I have a question, Dubs.
If I lay
when
here,
If I just
lay here, would you lie with me and
Dubs,
just
when you
forget
drink
the
these
world?
massive quantities of
not
seltzers,
that much.
of
48 ounces at
different
3
things
p.m.
while watching a movie, like, what point are we going to the bathroom?
Oh, this was a whole nother viewing experience. So
Don't worry, it affected all of us.
well, I also had I was very. I know I started drinking at 3 o'clock, but I had a very, by my standards, productive Saturday morning. I was up at like 8:30
Yeah.
doing chores, but that meant I had like Gatorade, water, coffee,
Yeah.
Celsius, whatever. I had a lot of liquid before I even got to the 24 ounces. And then about an hour in, and we knew the movie was only an hour and 40 because I told Abby because I was excited about how short it was.
TMB, we love a short movie.
And by the way,
An
I'm not saying
hour-
you don't deserve these seltzers after a
I'm
good
saying that.
hard work.
He drank a Celsius at 9 a.m. He deserves 2 seltzers.
No,
and
but
3.
I'm just saying I would have had to piss badly anyway, and I was adding insult to piss
Injury.
And I leaned over at an hour mark, and I was like, Abby, I have to go to the bathroom really bad. I'm not sure what to do. How far is it? And then you were like, dude, it's so far.
So shout out. What's the opposite of a shout out, dude? AMC 34, not that bad, but fucking bathroom is up an escalator from where the theaters are. That's a fucking horseshit. I was very unhappy about that.
So he told me that, and he goes, there's only like got to be 30 minutes left. And I checked my watch, and he was about right. 5 minutes into that 30 minutes, I was squirming. I was so uncomfortable. And I made it, but it was one of the more like, do you know when it actually hurts? It doesn't even feel good anymore. Like when it starts.
Poor baby drank
Well,
24-ounce
but
drinks
what I
and then
want
had
to
to pee.
say, what I want to say
Aw.
is to my future self listening back to this and anybody else, just go to the bathroom then.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Just
Don't
go.
get any less than 48 ounces. That's
but
not the lesson here.
The
But
3
also,
minutes.
that pain might just be your liver like bleeding.
The 3 minutes that I would have missed was not worth how much less I got to enjoy the last half hour of the movie because of how physically uncomfortable I was. That's about all I have to share.
So this is a story I'm a little embarrassed to tell, to be honest, because this is the second time it's happened.
You were the only person in the theater?
Well, no, I actually love that. But yes, I was. But so when I book my tickets on Fandango, I'm always scared of seeing the Rotten Tomato score. So I purposely cover the phone with my hand. But, you know, I got to scroll down to see the times.
Did you buy the wrong tickets?
This is literally the second time it's happened. So I scroll down. I'm so scared to see it.
You like see it in
Scroll down,
3D
and
by
I
accident.
changed the date. Like this was yesterday. I changed it to today, Tuesday. And I'm like, okay, that's the theater. Okay, that's the time, 2 o'clock. Okay, Clifton, Commons. All right, cool, good. And I put in my wallet, and I go to the theater today, 2 o'clock showing. I'm like, dude, there's always trailers. Like, I'm not going to show up right at 2. I go down Route 3, I go to Clifton Commons. I get to the front door. I look at the ticket in my wallet, and it says AMC Wayne 14.
Whoa.
I'm at the wrong AMC.
Mr. Wayne, dude.
And it's 2 o'clock.
How far is Wayne?
It's like 15-minute drive. So anyway, I get in the car. I drive like a maniac because I'm afraid, I'm going to miss
you're gonna
this
miss
movie.
it.
So kind of like a dual dub situation, only,
More-
without alcohol.
Yeah.
And I run, I'm getting my car. I'm weaving in and out of traffic. I finally get to the AMC Wayne. I get in the theater, dude. There was still another like 20 minutes of trailers. I could have stopped and got a Subway sandwich. This is getting out of hand. Capitalism has run amok in this country.
You know what's crazy is there's a bill that someone's trying to pass right now. Did you see this? That it's like the movie theaters have to show what
Yeah, the tweet that said Larry David asked law.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I think that's great. Like,
Yeah, Larry
like
David.
these freaking, you
But-
know what I mean?
I told Abby that this is gonna make me even later. Like, as late as I am to these things, I haven't actually missed the start of a movie. But if I can, like, it's like Abby has to tell us the tea time is 15 minutes earlier than it is, because if we actually know, we always fuck it up. If I know it's 22 minutes on the dot, I'm gonna say I have until that time and then be late.
Yeah, I don't know. 25 minutes is insane.
There's like 5 layers of ads now too. It's like
Yeah, Nicole Kidman goes on talking
also
about
have
how movies are
trailers.
special. and it's
Heartbreak
magical.
feels good in a place like this. Somehow heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Somehow heartbreak feels good.
Is that what she
like
says?
this.
I heard it's getting
I was like, Heartbreak-
sunset soon.
Yeah, but we heard that like months ago. I feel like, and it didn't happen. But I will say, recliner seats in the
Recliner,
Oh,
yeah,
I wrote
Dude,
this down.
the fucking AMC 34 is still bathroom too far, but they had up, down, left, right, fucking Willy Wonka elevator ass shit,
direction.
dude. And then they had a button that I was like, "What is this color, dude? A heater. You could turn on a
Yeah.
butt heater.
Abby,
on the
you're lucky.
fucking thing.
You were like, "What is that?" And I figured it out because I was like, "I'm hot," but
Yeah,
I
Will
don't remember
thought his
being this
asshole was
hot.
actually bleeding.
But yeah, I was like, I think it's a seat heater. The Omni movement that they had, the gyroscopic seats were pretty awesome too.
Yeah, the gyroscopic element was actually tight.
Listen,
Sleep number aspect.
this is the longest it's taken us to move on, but I also think there's less to talk about with the plot of this movie. I'm not going to lie, as usual, I had secondary ulterior motives. So, life updates, one scary, one happy. Scary, this is just crazy and freaked me out. So, I came home, the lock on my door, there are no keys in the entire building.
It's a
Everything is
fob.
fob. So it's an
fabulous.
electric lock. I thought it was just a sticker on my lock, like, required maintenance or something. And then I looked closer and the cover had been removed, exposing the actual chip and the sticker on the chip. So there's two theories. One is it just fell off, but then it wasn't on the ground.
This is a horror movie plot for sure.
So my boy Farah, my favorite concierge, is like trying to be like, don't worry about it. I'm sure it's nothing. And then the maintenance guy, my boy Reyes, he comes and I was like, I feel like these don't come off easily. And he was like, not at all. And I was like, so somebody had to tamper with this. He was like, that or it was hit really, really hard by accident. And I was like, so somebody.
But hit by accident and then take the fucking
No,
piece
no.
from the floor.
The alternative is somebody deliberately pulled it off, which
Yeah.
requires force.
Yeah.
Or, which is way less likely, some inadvertent mashing against my door in my hallway at one period where I'm not home on a Sunday
And it would have
night.
had to fall on the floor, and then someone else would have had to pick it up
Yes.
and throw it away.
So
Bro, you're gonna die.
now,
What can they do with this piece of your lock?
The point is,
nothing. That's
if
how you
somebody
try to
is
get
trying
in.
to break in,
All someone has to do is knock on your door and be like, "Two Trulies available," and you fucking open it any hour.
well,
20
so-
ounce. We got the 20 ounces.
Anyway, so that's creepy, and I can't stop thinking.
There's not
about-
gonna be an ending to this, is there?
That's it. That's the ending. So that's the spooky
Oh,
news.
bro, you're gonna die.
The good news is I got some happy work news, and usually I would be celebrating alone. I always buy myself a nice fancy scotch for this. It's been a struggle for me lately. Breakup recently, not feeling great, but I poured myself into my work last few months, and I got very, very good news. And Brendan, if you want to know the answer to the question of do I like you, there's nobody else I'd rather share this
Thanks,
celebratory
dude.
scotch
I'm not gonna have
with.
any, but I appreciate it.
Even just smell it or something. This one's scotch of the year, I was told.
I'm gonna have a little bit.
All right. Now we can get started. The way we actually kick off the show finally is we each go around and give our own one sentence and one sentence only synopses. And everybody has their own kind of flair. And then we're going to give you the official one so that you can compare and have an idea of what the movie's actually about.
All right, Sammy Synopsis, Brendan Fletcher.
Yeah,
why
yeah.
don't you kick us off?
I'll be honest with you guys.
Every time you start with something about how bad it's about to be, and then you spit fire.
All right, well, here we go. After finding a cursed mechanical monkey amid their estranged father's souvenirs, identical twins Bill and Hal unleash a force of chaos set upon tearing their worlds apart.
Dude!
Estranged and souvenirs sound really nicely together. I
Dude,
just
it's
want to say that.
internal rhyme,
Yeah, that
or whatever.
that.
The consonants.
All right, I'll go next. A director with legitimately harrowing daddy issues uses a movie about a toy monkey to humorously display the reality of family dysfunction and the inevitability of death.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I like that.
I like you that.
Little
Lucho.
interpretation, a little bit of actual overview.
Me like you that. I don't know. When you turn the monkey, people die, but it's funny.
Okay. All right. That's
Aren't you glad I
clearly it
prepared?
came. Yeah, it shined through. The official synopsis goes like, when twin brothers find a mysterious wind-up monkey, a series of outrageous deaths tear their family apart. 25 years later, the monkey begins.
Either stole that, or
I swear-
is just,
No, this
I
is not
swear
the
to
first
G,
time.
dude.
You should have this job.
I
Brendan,
swear to G.
it's
You started G.
25 years later, the monkey begins a new killing spree, forcing the estranged siblings to confront the cursed toy. Didn't I say estranged?
What the hell? I
It's-
said it's
No, but I also said that I liked the way you used it, Ben. I liked it
also,
better.
that wasn't a turnaround when I said earlier. But dude, what the hell? Why are they literally?
I mean, they are estranged. There's not a better really word to.
No,
Well,
but
no,
he
no, I
actually
used the
said
father was
father,
estranged. Yeah.
which is
Oh,
also true.
Dude,
back to that.
something
Yeah.
strange
Stash
is
it, stash
brewing
it.
in here.
All right, well, yeah, that's the movie. I honestly, we usually go through the plot a little after this. Really not that serious, but before we get into the plot of what actually happens in detail, before we dive into what we thought and shit, we're gonna start with our segment that we like to call "Baby in the Corner," where our resident infant Abby Krinsky serves as the human barometer, which we measure quantifiably via the Binkymeter, so that normal people, can know how scary the movie is.
Thanks for asking, Will. The monkey was not scary. I had fun watching it, which is not the point of this podcast. But I mean, it was a horror movie, so we didn't like fail. But like, I had too much fun. I really had fun, and I wasn't scared. But then there was two scenes. One where he was staring out the window. Once they were at the aunt's house staring out the window, I was like, God fucking damn it. I hate when people stare out the window. Then you saw the monkey's eyes in the fucking reflection. That scared the absolute fuck out of me. And then number two is I have a very large, besides my just fear of horror movies and jump scares and shit, I have a very large fear of snakes. I really don't like snakes. And there was the cobra scene
The golf
in the
hole, yeah.
golf hole, and I jumped.
There's
And
an
I was-
aneurysm in this movie. It features an aneurysm, and Abby had his own next to me. He flew out of his seat. That's probably actually the most I've seen you jump in the movies.
I don't
where we
like
sat
snakes,
next
dude.
No, but it was also like just the way
It was a jump
shot out.
scare. It was a jump scare.
I do think Osgood is not like, he is just the classic cheap, no noise to so much noise, shrill.
But he didn't do that much of it, or else I would have been terrified and hated it.
Yeah.
So this was good. So yeah, I'm gonna say Binkymeter again. Abby had fun equals Abby no scared. Binkymeter, let's say a 3.
Is that the formula? Abby have fun equals Abby no scared.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Was
Divided by
Pythagorean?
yeah, divided by
Pythag?
Q.
We should make that.
Pythagoras?
We should make that in the t-shirt.
It's
Yeah.
Abby Einstein.
Yeah,
That would
Brendy
be
have fun as
tragic.
well, dude. Brendy
Brendy
have
have
fun. as well.
fun?
Yeah. And I'd like to talk about how much freaking fun I had. This
Yeah.
movie. Sometimes movies are just about to have fun. You know, it's not about making a podcast. It's not about writing down your notes on a
Well,
post-its.
I want to make a
It's-
comment about this because,
Okay, nice. Just jump right over. I'm joking. Go. I'm
well,
joking.
my good friend Jay, who I think you guys at least know,
We could be
He-
good friends one day, Jade.
he
Don't
was
let Will separate us.
furious listening to the Terrifier episode because he couldn't contribute and he disagrees so strongly with you guys. But he did make a good point, is that we need to stop evaluating some of these movies as, is our rating of whether it's a good movie. It's not whether it's a good movie. It's how successful it is, in my opinion, of like what it's
I agree.
trying
Well,
to do.
Jay, I
agree.
take back our good friend comment. No, I'm joking.
Wait, what did-
I-
what
but
did
I
you-
think
what did
that's
Jay not
fair,
like about-
But
what
no,
Well,
was
just that like it was analyzed too
it's good at what
literally.
it's trying to be.
no,
Yes.
but that's- but we
It's
talked.
Hey
serves-
Jay, I'll give you my address and phone number, and we can talk man to man. All right?
No. I think that I think I came home after that episode. And we've had a few where I walked home and I was like, I sort of do feel like we might have missed the point. But I also then go back and it's like, no, I'm down for silly. Not going to analyze it against fucking Casablanca or against Hereditary on a horror scale. Like, I think Terrifier was just trying to be silly and fun, and I just didn't actually think it was silly and fun in the right way that I would have liked.
And that's what I like. I go into a movie with an open mind. I like to judge a movie based on if I liked the movie or not. I don't like think of it, was this a good movie?
Yeah.
Capital
No, it's not
G.
for everybody.
Yeah. Like, or is this a bad movie? It's not.
I don't.
I don't look.
I don't think.
I'm just saying my reaction. Do I like the movie? Do I dislike the movie? What did I like about it? What did I not like about it? And this movie, for example, I usually dislike these types of movies, or at least that's what I
it's
thought.
not up
like,
your alley.
Sort of like just based on the trailer alone. This is my like preconceived notion before going to see the movie. Movies like Final Destination, for
They're
example.
about the kills.
Yeah, it's about the kills. It's about people like going, oh shit, his head like got snapped up like a propeller. It's like, okay, yes, I understand the appeal of those movies. It's not my cup of tea. This movie, though, I will say, I went in actively kind of like wanting to dislike this movie, but I enjoyed like the angles it took and how it wasn't really, it was more of like a humor-filled movie. It had a lot of heart in it. It was, the characters well written. Like, I love the narration and stuff. But the kills were also there and ridiculous and outrageous. But I felt like it didn't pull me out of the movie
It was fun
in the way that
in
Final
between.
Destination would.
It was
Yeah.
fun
So
in between the kills.
Yeah.
That
It
was
funny.
the
It was
biggest
well
difference.
written.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where the fundamental disagreement. And again, it's not for everybody. Everybody's going to receive info like this differently. And I don't think Jay or I think we could change your mind, Brendan. I do think that also you guys evaluated Terrifier without seeing part 1 and 2. But B, I think if you see it again, you'll like it even more. Where I disagree is I think something like The Monkey, where the director and the writer is like, and here is a joke to move along the plot. It was, to me, that's more uncomfortable. Like the priest, that he made me laugh, but it's like he's
so
just,
hard at that.
but he's just a he exists only for a laugh, and to me, that's trying harder. Where Damien
Yeah, if only he was like
No,
a
but-
mid-acting teenage
no, but,
girl.
No, but the tone was consistent, in my opinion. It is equally
consistent
hilarious.
isn't always
and
the
goofy.
goal, though.
It's equally goofy in a totally more like offbeat way.
Wait, are we talking about Terrifier?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Like
Then
humor is
this-
is completely
Subjective.
subjective.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
But I think-
yeah,
well,
that's
but
fine.
I-
That's
so-
completely valid. I don't disagree. I don't think you're wrong by saying that. And like I think that's like the biggest disconnect is we say each other is wrong for thinking that. No, I mean that's like the beauty
No,
of this thing.
everybody
It's like
that
you
doesn't
think-
agree with me
what
is
you think is
wrong.
funny is different than what I think is funny. Or,
It is
or,
fun
you
to
know,
think of
That's why we're doing this.
friends like listening and squirming because they can't argue.
Oh,
with
that's
us.
the
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
That's you got to go on one of those AI podcasts where you can talk back to him. But I would say the first thing, to your point, the first thing I wrote down on my many post-its here that I wrote down in the movie was, this is actually funny. Like this was
Yes.
actually
Same.
they actually, like, comedy is my favorite genre.
Yeah.
Like I do comedy. Like this was funny. It wasn't
Yes.
trying to be funny. It
Yeah.
wasn't funny at some parts. It was just legit funny, legit good comedy writing.
100%.
I think to not hone in too much on the Terrifier conversation again, but I don't think they're comparable, and I do think that there's something cool about a consistent horror first movie like Terrifier that has kills. I'm trying to think. You've shown me many. I sometimes like it, and the biggest thing is what we did talk about though, and I think we did hit on it. I don't need those movies to be as long as Terrifier was,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's the big criticism. And I don't find the Terrifier to be interesting in between the kills. So you find me a movie with kills and consistent tone similar to Terrifier, but shorter and more fun in between the kills, and I'm all in.
I think
I
if
just didn't
you're-
think that
if
pulled
you're
it
s-
off.
If you're sitting
But
down,
the kills were amazing.
If
Yeah.
you're sitting down knowing that you're kind of like there to be amused versus to be like, this is gonna be maybe a good horror movie,
Yeah.
you're gonna enjoy those moment to moment weird, like uncomfortably off dialogue more, I think. Anyway, I actually think I would give The Monkey a higher score as a dark comedy, let's call it.
Yeah,
Like
it really
a-
was
Like
that.
a Coen Brothers style than I would as a horror movie.
Yeah. No, I think it wasn't really a horror movie, but
Yeah.
we had to see it because it's all popular, and I'm glad we did, and it was fun. And
Yeah, I agreed to that, Dubs. And also, I think a lot of that has to do with like the Stephen King source material. Like, I think I don't know what Osgood's what he saw in that short story, but like I think he wanted to do it justice and kind of turn it into more of like a fleshed out story with fleshed out characters, and with that that narration in the beginning, I felt like it was very just like smartly written, and yeah, also very funny.
So can we?
We're walking down into
We're
the
walking
parlor.
down
I'm
into
gonna
His
use my
mother.
fob to open the spoiler room right now. I have
Fancy-ass
an
basement.
immediate, not a Fletch fact, but kudos to Abby for this. A Dubs detail about the source.
Taking your job, dude.
Hold up.
Well,
I don't remember the
Brendan
three-way
came
phone. I
straight
don't
from
remember
the-
the three-way phone call about Dub's details. You can't wait on. What is that?
it's just when I
Not
look
straightforward at all.
when you didn't have enough time to look up cool stuff, and I have just an info.
We'll talk about
Anyway,
it.
so
We're gonna talk about this later.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
go.
Details are
Can we
subjective.
we should get a board that makes a decision. Anyway,
joking. I
but
love it.
also
Go.
cheers.
You got me aboard.
All right, so the short story is totally different, very
Based
serious.
on Stephen King's Planet of the
Based-
Apes.
yeah, and it's really just there's no twins in that story.
Okay.
Right.
Also, it begins with the son, who we don't meet until much later in the movie.
So the grandson.
The grandson finds the monkey
Okay.
of his somewhat estranged father,
Right.
who's Hal,
Right.
and that belonged to, I guess, Hal's dad. He has no twin
Adam Scott.
brother. Yeah.
He has a brother that's named Bill. Doesn't
Well,
matter.
so what you said about like what he did with the source material. First of all, he totally changed it.
Yeah, he didn't.
He
I mean,
really changed
Yeah, I
it.
mean, he definitely. I mean, like again, like anytime you adapt, you know, a book or a short story into a movie, especially like a horror movie, I feel like you do have to play up a lot of like the physical, just like nature. Like horror movies are very physical in nature. Like you got a lot of jump scares that don't really translate very well when you're reading a book, right? And there are a lot of changes to it. They're
Is
not
there
very
gore? I've never really
Well,
read Stephen
no,
King.
but
Does
it
he
is-
describe gore like in detail the way that was a big part of this movie? Like, would he be like
No,
the
no, no.
intestines
Horror
fly
historians-
out?
No, not at all.
Horror
The
stories.
intestines shoot out like a Pringles can
that's what I was
loaded with a
wondering. That's
snake.
why I wanted to read it. I was like, yeah, there's like a scuba diver's.
To put it in perspective, the book ends with them trying to kill the monkey by burying it in a lake, and it's the son and the dad, and they do, and then you see a newspaper clipping about every like
Fish,
20,000 fish dying. So it's very like
But they do
He
put
just
it,
starts
but
killing
they do
fish.
hide it in a well. They do like when he's a child, Hal's a
Right.
child. He puts it in in a well, and then he goes back to look for it. It's no longer there. So they do have this element that the monkey can teleport. Like his uncle and aunt both die. He has a Hal when he's a kid with his brother Bill have a babysitter that does die. But it's a shootout in a Chinese restaurant as opposed
Yeah,
to an
it's-
hibachi restaurant. Yeah, I'm saying there are differences, but there are the general bones are there. Like Hal is. There are scenes where he's kind of like abusive to his son. He loses his job. He has a tumultuous relationship with his wife. So instead of this guy who separates completely from his son in hopes
Right.
that like the
To
monkey's
keep him
power
safe.
won't
Yeah.
won't kill his son or put his family in danger. This guy actually is with his family, and there's more of a psychological aspect to it than the monkey literally having these demonic abilities to cause people harm. You don't actually see the correlation. It's you wonder actually if this dude's a reliable narrator and maybe all this stuff's in his head and he's making a false correlation between the monkey and these things that are
Whereas in
happening
the
world.
movie, it's very clear that the monkey's killing
It is.
people early on.
Yeah.
And also, it's interesting that he made it a comedy. I wonder where that comes
so
from.
this is what I was trying to bring all of this to. So Osgood Perkins, like Longlegs, every horror movie that he has and will make, he said, is going to be about himself. So before he owned,
Right, because his family died. We heard about
so
this.
we're
yeah.
gonna, I'm gonna come. Well, that's why my synopsis mentioned. So this is very much him injecting himself, and that's why his brother was such an important part. Anyway, but originally the script and the rights belonged to somebody else, and Frank Darabont, the guy who did, I'm pretty sure, The Mist and what's the world's most famous prison movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
both Stephen King adaptations.
Frank Darabont owned the rights, and he was on to direct, and it fell apart. And just a couple of years ago, Osgood got it, and the script was already written. It was the same script, and he was like, "This is way too serious. Like the more literal adaptation."
Why so
and he was
serious?
like, "This is something that needs to be
Mr. Wayne.
ridiculous. People are
Jersey.
dying everywhere around you. That is like inherently ridiculous and frustrating."
Yeah,
and
definitely.
his parents both also kind of died in these absurdist ways.
Right.
So he was like, the only way I can make this and make it like digestible in his way was to make it funny, he said.
That's super interesting. And I guess that is probably, he's probably a funny guy. Because I was trying to think, like, Longlegs wasn't
Longlegs
very
was
funny.
not funny at
no.
all.
And his other stuff, I couldn't find it. But I guess, yeah, this just struck him as absurdist, and he made it funny. And I props to it. It made the movie. I mean, I don't want to watch a serious version of this at all.
It also, though, it struck a really good balance, though. It was very funny, but there were moments where I, like, found myself, there's some profound shit going on.
Connected.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the kid, they
for
did
sure.
the kid was really good at the beginning.
So-
the actor was really good, and
Really
you really
good.
bought in.
The
and
mom was a great actor.
The
The
mom was
the relationship
so good.
between the kids
Holy
and the
shit,
mom.
Yeah.
The quick overview of the movie is they're twin brothers that discover this monkey that kills people. The main character, Hal, he is figuring out that it kills people, and he accidentally is the one that twists it, initiates
kills his
it,
mom.
that results in his mother's death. His brother is a shithead, really shitty version of him, and they never got along to begin with, but that really tore them apart. 25 years later, the monkey's back. It's killing people all over again.
We found out the brothers are no longer. They don't talk. They haven't talked for 12 years.
And not only has he estranged himself from his brother, who he never really liked, but he's deliberately estranged himself from his son to protect him from the potential return of this killer monkey that could unpredictably kill family members like his mom, their uncle, aunt, everybody.
And those of you not seen the movie, the monkey's not actually physically like
a
like
toy.
Chucky
No,
style.
right.
He's-
You just twist.
like going
he
up
just
and,
like
you know what I
causes
mean?
like paranormal things to happen.
It's like this weird talisman that is when it drums that drum.
Will
bad
Will
things
summed it
happen.
up to me before we even saw it, which I was like, "What's the deal with this monkey movie?" And he's like, "It's like Final Destination, but funny." I think, which is
Yeah.
the real summation of the whole movie.
The point is
the death's
these-
coming for you once they twist the monkey thing,
Yeah, and
and it's a
another,
random person it's gonna kill.
this feels more like a Fletch fact than a Dub's detail, but apparently they were afraid that Disney owned the rights to a monkey with
Monkeys.
cymbals, and the original is a monkey with cymbals, but he was too scared about dealing with that
Oh, so he
legally,
did the drums.
So he did the drums.
Yeah, the monkey. It was, well, I'm gonna interject flash fact. The monkey is called the Music Jolly Chimp. It was invented in 1950, and it's also shown in other movies such as Strange Encounters with the Third Kind and Stranger
Oddity.
Things. Oh, Oddity. as well?
Oddity in the shop for a second.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
like
that's
a
right.
weird
It was
monkey.
not a monk. What was
That was
it?
a rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rabbit.
Yeah,
a
rabbit.
rabbit.
Yeah,
it
but
had
similar
cymbals,
drum,
yes,
and a drum.
a drum. Right.
Okay, so here.
And honestly, the drumsticks in this were a symbol.
Well, no,
For-
Oh, shitty
Death.
ditty.
Well, Abby, I think
Yeah.
you're right. Actually, in Oddity, they did they were symbols, but in one of
The short story you said, The
yeah,
Conjuring
there
was
was a
based
drum.
on.
I
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
I forget that name.
So,
Toys. They're scary, kids. What if they were?
so there was. It wasn't subtle that this was about like family dynamics and
Die.
also
Capitalize the die and
issues
dynamics.
with dads. Right. So I went back to what we learned about Osgood for Longlegs. Now, if you'll remember, Osgood Perkins said a lot of Longlegs was about mothers protecting their children from either their fathers or information around their fathers. Anyway, that was a big theme in that movie. Now, his dad was Anthony Perkins from Psycho. We thought last time that what they were protecting him from, like this allegory was, or metaphor was to him being protected from the celebrity and horror icon-dom of Anthony Perkins. That's not what it was at all. We were wrong. He died of AIDS because he was a closeted gay man. And a lot of the tabloids and rumors, he was for about 12 years until he died, they were totally kept away from anything of the public eye around his dad to protect them from that information, which came out much later. That clearly fucked him up and his younger brother, who was also adversely affected by this. And then the mom died in 9/11, crashing into the second tower. Just totally not. It was like 9 years to the day that he that Osgood's dad Anthony died.
Wow.
So now this whole idea of mom and family protecting their kids from information about their father, we have Adam Scott who disappears, right, and then leaves them with this bitter, angry mother who it's like everybody dies and life sucks and whatever, but she's not really a shitty parent. Just dad is missing. So Osgood's got this thing about non-present fathers. But then it becomes way more literal with his own son, who he's quite literally actively estranged to protect him. So it couldn't be more like on the nose. from that same theme that he had in Longlegs. So it's that coupled with the fact that there's really nothing you can do. If somebody's going to die, everybody's going to die. But if they're going to die,
mom says many times,
if they're going to die in a fucked up way,
If he dies, he dies.
they're gonna. And for him, it's like, well, let's make it this silly monkey, and let's make it funny, and
Yeah.
and like take ownership of the fact that once it starts, you can't stop it. Like,
Yeah, I think that's definitely a theme.
No, it's definitely a theme, and I think again, what's cool about this plot that is a little different than as much as I joke like, oh, it's similar to Final Destination, it's similar to other things. It's like Final Destination, it's like this person's chosen. This one is cool because it keeps the chaos, and now I'm very interested in the Stephen King book because I really like playing with the idea of like, is it even actually have anything to do with the monkey? In this one, it very clearly is.
That's why it's classic Stephen King. It's like the same thing with The Shining. And oh, by the way, in that first scene where he's like the father's trying to torch the monkey with the flamethrower, you see on the marquee it says The Streaming. I'm wondering if that's like a nod to The Shining or something.
Oh, and
But
the
maybe
close up
not.
of the melting face was a
yeah,
little bit
but
like
anyway.
the ice face.
can we talk about what a strong first scene that was?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's great.
not only strong, but also immediately was like, oh, this is not just fake comedy, this is real comedy. We got Adam Scott, and then he's gone, but it's still like set the precedent of like, again, like you said, like Coen Brothers-esque in just like when we do a little bit of funny, it's not half-assed. It's as funny as there is out there.
Okay, so I thought another Scream theme, especially a symbol, it was the boomerang. When they're rummaging through the closet, through all the souvenirs of their father, and they find the boomerang is one amongst all the knickknacks. And then the boomerang, she has called a boomerang aneurysm, right? And the idea of a boomerang, if you think about death, we're always trying to distance ourselves from the idea of death. We're always trying to be like, put that out of our minds. If we put it out of our minds, we can be happy. But in reality, I think that what this movie is about is talking about just embracing the fact that death is inevitable. And if we do that, it doesn't mean that we have to live, in isolation. If we just embrace it, we can, with that knowledge of it being inevitable, we can live our lives. And, when he talks about you want to go dancing, is like his mom right after the speech at the cemetery goes, let's go dancing.
Let's go dancing.
So
and
you
that's
can
like,
throw it away. You can throw away the idea of death as many times as you want, but it's eventually going to come back to you. Yeah.
I'm so glad you talked on it because I wrote down on my paper when we saw that, I think I nudged Michelle and I was like, Chekhov's boomerang, because it was like they showed it, and it's like obviously Chekhov's gun, like it's gonna come back. And then I ended the movie and I was like, it didn't come back. What the fuck?
Yeah.
They got, but opposite. They were
Boomerang
using it
aneurysm,
way deeper.
And there was a
great
great line where he's like, the doctor said there was a chance of 1 in 41 million, which is just another way of saying it's bound to happen to someone.
Right.
I thought that
Great
line was
line.
so
Yeah, that was a good
fucking
line.
good. There-
Narration, self-narration can be really cringe. I think I'm watching High Fidelity right now. It's like that. It takes you out of it so much. They pulled it off in this. His voice was just like soothing and likable and just well acted.
By the way, he's super British. That guy.
No,
you could tell
dude,
there
the
was a
Brits
couple.
can do it
You could
so
tell.
well.
I didn't know he was British.
He's-
but they're in the car where he's talking. It's like the
Oh,
guy
he was
dressed
like,
up as a
son,
cop.
don't get that monkey,
There
because
was a
then we're going to
couple
have to throw another shrimp on the barbie. Yeah,
there was-
fuck him up.
No,
There's a
don't.
a good show on Netflix that's done by Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie, where he is a like duke or something in England and gets tied up in the drug trade, and it's very like cheeky, and he's just such a
same actor.
British guy. Anyway, fun other Dubs detail, and totally relates to dynamic of father and son, except not really at all because it's real life. My dad had an aneurysm and survived.
Oh shit.
Oh, shit. Recently?
No, like when he was in his 20s.
Oh,
like
what?
something that kills like 82% of people. He
That's
survived.
Crazy.
Yeah, he said he just thought he had a headache and he didn't want to go to the doctor. And they were like, your brain exploded.
American healthcare
Very
system.
Jim Dubs, tough guy. A couple of other weird things that I noticed that I like. So I really didn't like, however much it made me laugh, I hated the priest because it just felt like just a
Too
vessel
silly
for
first.
it served absolutely no purpose
It
whatsoever.
was so funny, though.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was
dude.
just
I was
a
like,
joke.
yeah.
The guy was like, I can't not include this joke. So he wanted
He looked
to do
like
it.
Gergs. Shout out
He
Rosie.
He didn't kill his darling. That's what you taught me, and I think he just couldn't get rid of that. And it was funny. It made me laugh. To me, it felt like lazy storytelling, but good actual dialogue. Also, I just thought this was cool. The bullies to the kid were all women, girls, And,
They were so good.
And the meanest one
mean.
has a lisp and was
Yeah.
nerdy as hell.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great that they
This is
made
modern bullies.
they
Yeah.
made the bullies like the
Them made him fucking.
And then when they
to
smushed
get a
bananas
wedgie.
all over him, why didn't he wipe it out of his hair before
I
he got
know
home?
that was a classic movie thing. Everyone
it's
loves
so
to
movie.
carry around the blood all the movie, and he carried around the banana the whole.
So that's
movie.
why I'm like, if they were just this is a comedy, these things wouldn't bother me at all. They're not at all. But the fact that
Dude, look at you not liking comedy horror mashups anymore. I thought you lived for
how
this
the
genre.
tides
You
have
lived for this genre.
burned.
You just don't like it because it was smart, dude.
It-
you
but
like
I'm
stupid. You like
saying
stupid comedy.
it
You
was
like-
not.
If only the
Clearly,
bad guy
long
didn't
legs-
talk and did
yeah.
mimery.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And walk
Also-
really
Yeah.
slow to each one of his victims. And
The mom wake up during the funeral scene was so
Yeah,
hard
you didn't
to
like
watch.
that. I thought that was
Very bad.
actually had some heart to it.
Yeah, so when the movie tried to inject seriousness, it was incredibly uncomfortable.
But uncomfortable is
no,
not is maybe
effective.
the point.
No, like I was like, this is so bad. They should have
I
done.
got emotional. I
they
thought it
should
was
have
good.
done 10 or 15 more takes because that wasn't the one.
like
kid.
what part? Like what? Give me an example.
No, the
She's
kid.
like,
the kid-
Mom, wake up,
Yeah,
wake up.
at
He
the
just,
funeral, the cool brother.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
his
yeah,
first
the cool
breakdown.
brother.
I mean,
I was kind of thinking of Scream themes during that part, so I wasn't really paying attention to that. Actor.
also-
it was
That
a
part
little
did not
much,
hit.
but I did make me emotional. But also, everything makes me emotional. So like, that's not really
yeah,
a good
dude.
point.
I think I got emotional problems.
So I thought it was interesting because it was a kills movie that I think held its own without the kills because it was funny and good acting. But the kills ranged quite a bit. Some were really cool, I thought. And then some were like, I don't know. I was
Really
like,
quick.
yeah, really
Well,
quick.
the hibachi one was very quick.
Hibachi one was quick, and everyone knows I'm a diehard hibachi guy. We've gone on every time we go on
To
a
a
trip. I
fault.
make us
You're
go
an
to
addict,
hibachi. I'm addicted to
You need to
hibachi.
get some help.
Toss them shrimp in my
Because
mouth.
you do so much
Toss some
else for
shrimp in
that
the
trip,
Barbie.
I've stopped trying to be anti-hibachi, but I
Yeah,
it's my
one
least,
hibachi a year. Oh, Will has to deal
my
with
least
so
favorite
much.
part of the trip.
I don't
Oh
like
my
it either.
God.
Yeah, no, we never want to go, but Abby
literally-
loves
Oh, we're
it.
doing
Don't
it again
ever
this
say you
year,
don't
don't
like to do
worry.
something. He makes you do it.
Will
Go.
literally like vomited up shrimp last time in the
No, I didn't.
front
Daniel
yard.
threw up on the side of the building.
Dude, Orlando's known for its hibachi. Everyone knows it.
Why do you guys hate it? It's fried rice and fucking meat. Okay, but yeah, the
Just
hibachi
stay in the
felt
pool.
like such a fodder for a kill. Hibachi, like shout out Rich Law, like there's so many plots that involve hibachi themes, and then the kill was like very subtle. But then other ones were like really cool. The fish hook one
That was
with
my
the
favorite one.
alcohol,
That was my
face
favorite one, too.
explodes. Fucking awesome. The first kill actually was on the line of both because it was like I liked it. It was a great scene.
Anytime
And then the
intestines get
intestine
pulled
flew
out, I'm
but
happy.
also it was like a little bit like, are we going all the way or are we going some of the way? Like like we talked about, like Terrifier shows everything.
Right.
Then there's Eggers shows little, but makes it as disturbing, if
Yeah.
not more. This was sort of it going back and forth. So that was a
That's
bit
why
of
the
a
first
flaw to
scene
me.
kind of worried me. I was like, oh, is this going to be
Right.
the whole movie of all
Right.
these type of kills? And it's like, is
I-
this-
But it wasn't.
I was a big fan of
no, I know you love those.
the
types of
harpoon
movies.
Yeah.
Final
intestine.
Destination. You're a big Destination.
Also, they
guy,
kept
right?
showing this was I should have
You
said
might
this for the
give it a
Binkymeter.
chance before you.
Final Destination's
Yeah,
great.
Hope
It's so
to
fun.
on this. I've never seen it, so I'd hope to.
I mean,
on
I'm
it.
scared. Me and Daniel have a theory with Final Destination. It's in every other. 1, 3, and 5 are great. 2 and 4 are mid. And
No, it's
and
the opposite. 2 is way better than 1. 2 is
Okay,
the
I'm not
iconic.
Well, they're
doing
coming
one.
out with a new one, so
Wait, are
maybe
you
we can talk about all of
insane?
this when we watch the
Hold
new
on,
one coming out.
hold on. You think 2 is better
I'm not
than
doing this.
Guys, come on. Let's
2
go.
is the
I
one
gotta
where
go.
they
I gotta
meet the
go.
devil.
No, 2 is the one with the fucking iconic logs and the barbed
Oh,
wire.
I've seen
and-
that scene. Yeah, yeah.
Two
yeah,
is the
that's
most
the
famous.
kills. Sure.
What else
there's-
is there? You're the Mr.
there's-
Kills are the only
right,
important thing
but
guy.
number 2 tries to do a whole plot.
don't-
They meet death. He's a guy. He's a black dude. That's
Guys,
death.
I gotta
No,
do
he
a number
knows
2, so we
that.
gotta get out of here. Right?
He is death. The monkey was scary in his face. That scared me. But also then they'd show long close-ups and it reminded me of my cat Beef. And then I was like, oh, Beef's killing everybody. So that was a monkey note. The sleeping bag kill was great. I thought that was fucking awesome. That was a perfect way to do gore, but not be over the top, showing too much.
They didn't show it.
Well, they showed the aftermath, and it was just like he got run over by 600 deer in his sleeping bag, and they open it up, and it looks like fucking Campbell's soup,
like
like
cherry
Chef
pie.
Boyardee. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought the kills really ranged, but some were great. And again, none of them took me out of it, so I liked it.
Well, the electric zapping of the pool where it was just a single Thor laser beam to a full explosion
Hilarious.
of.
And that one made no sense. The other ones made a little bit of sense. I'm
And
sure that's
most
not
of
what
them-
would happen, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I wrote down, how can you be swingers in a small town? So the aunt and uncle will go out of their way to mention they're swingers. And then, no, but then they show like something Maine, home of people. It was like they made a point that like 8 families live there. So who are they swinging
I think
with?
there's swingers all around.
So the
this
whole town
country,
is
Will.
swingers? It's crazy. Totally shit.
But I also liked this
Like,
movie.
make it more realistic swinging.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Honestly, listen to 2 Men and a Baby podcast because I guarantee of all the podcasts, no one complained about the town in Maine being too small
wanna
for
see
them to be
actually
realistically
do it
swinging.
with people
I
that
love
aren't
that
from
point,
that
Will.
town. Yeah.
Osgood, like, tell us what you were thinking about that one. Okay, then I have one big plot question. So, we got through it. Monkeys unleashed, kill, kill, kill. They find it. They're back in the town. We realize the brother's estranged, and then we realize the estranged brother is like probably the problem. Then we meet the Joey Ramone kid, right? And the Joey Ramone kid has the monkey. It reminds him of his dad. He finds the monkey and
weird.
gives it to the bad brother.
Yet again, a strange father issue thing.
Right, which I think that worked for me. And then he wanted the monkey back because it looked like his dad. But then he jumps from, I want the monkey back to, I'm going to ruin my whole life. My whole thing now is to break in
Yeah, I didn't get
to
that
the
part.
brother's thing to get it back. Like, why did he want it back so much? Was it just because it reminded him of his dad?
And what was that clip of his dad? That home video? Like, what they never even like touched on that. He like his dad was wearing his cop uniform with no pants on and shit. I was like, why did they didn't like talk more about that? Like his
I
dad.
didn't even catch
Remember
that?
that?
Was his dad.
They didn't even like go into that.
I'm so confused.
That was
Okay,
weird.
wait.
That was the biggest issue I had with this movie was that character.
Right, just became an important part of the plot.
And
maybe
all-
there were
yeah.
cuts. Maybe there was edits or something.
Maybe.
Well,
because
he
we're missing something.
He paid the guy to get the monkey.
But then the kid
and
just
then he just
180
gets
to the point where
drawn
he was
to
going to
it.
lose his whole right. But there's got and like you said with the
Oh yeah, he
the
paid him to
cop,
get it.
It's like you hire me to get you a monkey. I get you the monkey. I'm like, damn, I sort of want that monkey back. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, here's a gun. I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna die to try to like. There's something
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I mean, he was hired to go get the monkey, and then once he did, you get like a snapshot of his house, and it's yet another kid with daddy issues, and this is an heirloom like it was for the other kids.
Just because it
except-
looked like his dad or
No,
reminded
we
him
don't
of his
know
dad?
why
Well,
it
he does say that. He
reminded-
says his eyes look like my
Like my
father's
dad.
eyes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Either way, it's an object that
Dad had
reminds
some weird eyes, kid. No wonder he's dead.
that
My
reminds
dad was
him.
actually a monkey. It was weird.
Yes,
He
right.
kept playing
Trim
the
Crazy,
drums,
dude.
too.
It looked like the place in Trim Crazy where she takes the monkey later. You guys watch it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I did watch it. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The point is, people, these guys want the love of their daddies that are estranged, and they don't get to have it. And he felt that through the monkey.
I thought Ricky
like the whole
snapped.
movie. Like I said, he was lazy and he was there and whatever. I will say
Fine.
the book. I don't know if it's. I'm trying to find out if it's the same in the book. I guess it is, but if it's not, the idea of the mom being named Lois, the wife of Superman, could be something. You know.
What?
I'm not sure if her name's Lois.
No, her name is Lois in
What is
the
this,
movie.
Family
No,
Guy?
I know that. I'm saying in the book.
What's his
I'm not
name?
sure.
Peter?
Oh, that's just the way that. I mean, the
Maybe
dad.
the monkey's name is Brian, the dog? Family Guy?
Meg.
Anyway.
Stevie?
All right, come on, let's go. Let's do it.
Also, why were there cheerleaders at funerals?
That's what I was wondering. Why were there? Oh, they're
Oh,
bringing
I
the body
like
out.
that.
Yay! Why was that?
That was like a weird, to me, that was like a Twilight Zone town thing. Like there was some thing going on in this town that they were like part of. It was sort of like the Pale Horse at the end. Like
Yeah,
I
like
felt like they
6
were
people
supernatural.
swinging.
Well, the pale horse was they talked about that revelation.
I know,
Yeah,
I know,
but
but I just think that was the cheerleaders were
I
part
like
of
that,
this.
but the
the
cheerleaders
cheerleaders
didn't.
to me were part of the surrealism
Okay.
of this
But
area.
there wasn't a lot of surrealism.
No, it was like them and the Pale
yeah, it
Horse.
was weird. They were striking a
Well,
weird
and
balance.
and there
Yeah.
was like
Kinda
one
striking a weird
dream.
balance.
Yeah, I
sequence.
think it got a little weird in the second half. I think
yeah,
we're
the second
nailing-
half was
we're
kind of
getting-
weird. The
it
cheerleaders
still
took
worked,
me out of it.
but
I was
yeah.
like, what? Why
Well,
are
and then
they
at the very end, they get decapitated.
Well, that's fine, but like don't.
Well,
okay,
no, but it was very surreal. Why were they going through the town in this horrible time? The town's on fire. They're all cheering out the window. Like that was
Well,
the
the
same
cheerleaders
surrealism.
cheering is not that weird to
When
me.
the
But like
town's
we're
burning
cheering
down-
a dead, like actual
Right.
people dying.
No,
is
there
weird.
was. It was weird. It was like an occult. It was an occult thing. I bet there's some weird meaning behind it, but he didn't explain it enough in the movie.
Yeah, that was
Also, I don't know if you noticed that whoever the actor that they cast as a son, every time they showed like a lot of his screen time, PD, was his profile and his mouth when they showed the profile, he looked just like Monkey.
What?
This kid had like the the protrusive mouth that is featured on at least the toy
Neanderthal jaw.
monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, I thought it was like
It's an interesting. No,
it was really intense to me, and it was in the car. They kept showing his profile, and that's when you saw it. You didn't see it as much, and he also had those teeth. Remember the monkey's lips would peel back, and the teeth.
Yeah.
He also had very
Chimp
similar weird teeth.
You think that was done on purpose?
Yeah, 100% do.
Word.
interesting.
No, I don't, because I think Osgood is not as smart as he thinks he is. You heard me, Oz? All right. Okay, so
So at the end of the movie, Hal and Petey are driving away from the town. They're going back home, and Petey asks his father, Hal, "What are we gonna do with the monkey?" Hal goes, "We're just gonna, keep it close, to us, and we're just gonna basically keep living our lives." And they're about to drive out of town, and they see this horse and this kind of pale, ghostly creature, man, on top of this horse, and it passes him and his son, and they look at each other, and they have like this silent kind of acknowledgement of one another. They
Another
bring up that
surreal
image a bunch.
aspect,
It's from
yeah.
Revelations. They talk about it a couple
but
times.
they had mentioned it before in the movie
Yeah,
too.
they-
Yeah,
right?
talks
so
about
twice
that.
before they quote. So it's Revelation 6:8, and the quote is,
Damn, he's tall.
yeah,
6'8".
And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. So yeah,
What does that mean? I don't get the Bible. What does that mean?
Yeah, so he's just talking. Like, he's looking. The guy's death. He represents death, and basically, it's Hal acknowledging, looking at death, and saying, "We can't live our lives in fear of
right.
eventually
He
dying."
just exists along
Yeah,
with us.
We can't,
Okay.
and that's what the whole movie's about. It's about
And he looked like George Washington,
yeah. And
who was the death to a lot of indigenous
He
people.
said, "I'm not coming for you to die, so
also
you better
pale.
go dance."
He was
and rode a horse.
Hey,
All right, let's wrap it up.
Didn't he have horse teeth? Actually, he had horse teeth. I think
I don't think he opened his mouth.
not once.
we
all
should
right.
try that.
So that brings us to our segment that here we like to call Rotten S Tomato, which requires explanation, apparently, Javier. Where Rotten S Tomato, we estimate the tomato meter for the movie. We kind of try to figure out what the critics thought,
Rotten
what
Tomato,
the audience thought.
estimate, tomato, rotten estimate.
And now, because those fucking numbers are ubiquitous and you can't escape, and we often find them out, we've also introduced something that I call IMDbater, where we will guess the IMDb score debated. I have all the numbers in front of me, boys. Let's hear it.
You are about to find out if we really know what we're talking about. Are we frauds or are we connoisseurs? Here come our rotten tomato scores.
okay, so
Isn't Estimado also like Spanish? And shouldn't Jav get that because he's
Well, he just thought we were gringos saying
Oh,
the word
estimado.
funny.
Oh,
No, well, he was like, you're just saying it rotten tomato, but estimato.
right.
Not have anything
an
to do with
estimate.
estimating.
yeah.
Even though I say the word guess
Got it,
every
got it,
time.
got it.
Now I have to say estimate.
Honestly,
so
to
let's
be
do
fair
these
to
scores.
Hav, he's not the only one that didn't get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
He
didn't get
also-
it for like the first 4 episodes.
Okay.
But
So I think that my rotten estimation of tomatoes, I think that the critics will be higher than the audience, honestly, because I think that some audience members will have had that phenomena where they thought they were seeing a horror and then saw a funny horror and they might have been conflicted. I really liked it. I thought it was really funny. So I'm going to say critic. This also, I think this, I mean, I guess it did take some risks, but this fits into sort of that dichotomy argument you've made about Rotten Tomatoes doing better for movies that are just a little bit more straight, like just you're going to like it. I feel like everyone in the theater liked it. So I'm going to say critics, this is an 88. That might be high. I was really hard to actually put my finger on it because it's a different type of movie than we've done before.
that's crazy.
I'm going to say 88.
because that was right where I was
Really?
with it. I thought it was going to be in the 80s, if not. I mean, halfway through the movie, again, I didn't want to like this movie. Fandango, I think, might have done me dirty, and I may have seen it, but I don't really know. But I want to say critic score. I want to say 80. I'm going to say the same thing, dude. 88.
Okay.
All right, audience.
Audience, I think, was also pretty high, I want to say, because I am an audience member and I did enjoy this movie. So I can speak pretty confidently. I'm going to say, I'm just going to go, this is cowardly. Call me what you will, whoever your friend
Courage.
is out there
The
who
cowardly
loves
dog.
Terrifier. Yes, I'm going to say 88 again, dude. I'm going double barrel
It's not
shotgun.
cowardly. That's
88.
actually a risk taker move because they're never the same.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
hedging
say
my bets, really.
I'm gonna say for critics, I said critics would be a tiny bit higher, so I'm gonna say audience 85. So I go 88, 85. Brendan goes 88, 88. Will just with the smuggest face because he has power over us and knows the answer.
All right, so critics are 78%.
Okay, lower than we thought.
Audience is 60%.
Wow.
Okay.
Haters.
Yeah, because
It was very mainstream advertised. One of the reasons we did it is it's every single fucking ad in my feed right now is the monkey. So
Well,
it makes
that's-
sense that audience
no.
is low.
But that's crazy because the Long Legs hype machine was insane, and then he released a movie almost half a year after. The same director.
But
That's
Long
unheard
Legs
of.
was advertised as like the scariest movie
Yeah,
you've ever
it
seen.
had
This
to-
was
and
just
this-
advertised as
but
fun.
I think it was just like a safe, like, hey, we made this other. I think that it. I mean, the monkey is because we've been talking about it, but it had way less advertising. The total budget was only $10 million.
Okay, I'm surprised. I'm very surprised that
Yeah.
it's that
Nah.
low.
Now that I think about the last part of the
vanilla.
movie, yeah, it like I can kind of.
Yeah, I guess people
Yeah.
get really pissed off. You
There
know,
were
a
moments
lot
that
of
took me out of it.
audience scores are solely based on the end of the movie. I've noticed
Yeah.
that. I was looking up, some recent movie I saw, and like
I
people.
like the very end of the movie, but like the last 20 minutes
right.
was it was kind of
Right,
weird.
and I actually didn't mind it, but I see reviews that people are like, I freaking love that movie till the end, 1 star, and it's like,
Really, that was. I mean,
All right, I'm going-
not for this movie, but I'm saying in general.
by the
people-
way, the critics gave Long Legs 86, but also the audience was 61, which is very similar.
Interesting.
But I think
Super
that was more influenced by
Do you have?
the. I do have funny ones.
Yeah, can we hear?
All right, so this is Medicare at Best, inspired by the funniest negative review I've ever read, which is Medicare at Best, where somebody was trying to call the movie mediocre. But this
Dude,
reflects
Trump's gonna cut our Medicare vest
this,
to
this
0.
reflects the. This is where we try to expose the stupidity of the normal man via the negative ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. First one. I never post reviews on movies. In
Lie.
fact,
Already a lie when you
oh,
said that.
in fact, this is the first one ever. Can genuinely say this is the worst movie I've ever seen. Acting was really bad. The movie tried to be funny all the time, but the jokes weren't fun. The plot wasn't credible, and it was just boring as hell. Should have walked away after 5 minutes in.
It's like I disagree. Some of those criticisms can be valid for sure, subjectively, but like, there's no way this movie was strong enough in any direction to be the only review you've ever written. What the fuck? That is such a weird take.
The point that I was going to make is that if you should have left after 5 minutes in, the first 5 minutes, there's really nothing to be like, this is going to be you can't, somebody gets their intestines harpooned out. I will say from reading.
Plot was incredible, dude. No toys kill my family.
Yeah, well, yeah, the plot was incredible. That was what I meant to talk about. Shitty and hard to follow. Not hard to follow.
No,
at all.
definitely not
It was
hard to
pretty easy
follow.
follow, yeah. This guy just wanted literally blood everywhere, dude. He just was like, I can follow death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this one I feel like Abby, you're gonna like. This is not a negative review. In fact, a hearty 3.5 stars. That's a 7 out of 10.
I wrote this review.
The percussionist only knows one song, "Sad Face,"
Wow.
and that song is "Death." He didn't write that, but that's the entire review. Here is this is probably my favorite one. 1 star. Quote, clean up the language, end quote. And then a check mark, verified audience member.
Dude, that's an
Unbelievable.
insane review to leave. So you went to a rated R movie, got mad because they said fuck?
That
anyway,
can't be serious, that review.
It's a verified audience member.
Oh,
Gave it 1 star.
shit.
All right.
They check marked?
There's 2 more.
They pay Elon Musk.
This is actually the best written one that I found. And then I'll explain why I thought it was good. Gave it a 1 because I can't give it a 0. This film fails to deliver on every front, neither funny enough to be comedy nor tense enough to be a thriller. With forgettable characters, a thin plot, and cringeworthy moments, it feels like a poorly executed student film. By the way, grammatically perfect up to this point.
People love to say that.
The attempt to turn Stephen King's work into a campy comedy falls flat, and the genuine attempts at scares or emotion only end up being unintentionally funny. Despite the actor's effort, the weak writing and lack of direction makes this a movie to skip. So this is by far the best written one I've read up to this point. But the opening gave it a 1 because I can't give it a 0. All of these other really bad, they're half a star, so you can give it less than a 1. And this guy
He
was
couldn't
smart
find the
enough to
minimum.
write that pretty well. Anyway, Any
I
guess?
mean, I think if you're a diehard Stephen King fan and you really like that short story and it's not funny, and then someone turns it into funny, like I could see that frustration too. But again, I thought it was legit funny, and I'm in charge of deciding that.
IMDb
Yeah, I'm debater. Where do you guys?
6.1.
Yeah, now we know a lot.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted you to guess first. But
6.5.
6.5 on the nose. Which is gonna turn nicely into
I am the debater.
my final score. I'm giving it 6.4.
Really?
Mustached Adam Scott. So this is
That's
to
gotta
my-
be like the lowest you've ever given.
No, I've given.
Yeah, I
gave
think you might be
Trap
right.
like a 3.2. I gave Saw.
Okay.
All right. So here's my thing: is I was just talking about. We got to stop saying, "Is this a good movie? Is this a?" I think that
What'd you give Terrifier?
definitely higher.
9.9.99999. A million. Googleplex.
I
Infinity.
will say I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Minus the last 30 minutes where I had to pee. It was entertaining for sure. But I actually
6.4. I had to pee because I drank too much Truly.
No, but I actually don't think it was super successful at what it was trying to do. I think that it was a lot of low-hanging fruit and kind of lazy writing, but
what fruit would it be? A banana? Monkey.
actually, yeah, I mean,
You can keep going. You don't have to rip on that.
well, no, not all fruit hangs, and that is a hanging fruit. Not low, but it is a hanging fruit. Which, you know what? 6.4 is hanging fruit. It's not low, but I just thought
It is low to
I
me.
just thought
Maybe I set a high bar.
I gave Long Legs a higher review, a higher score than this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that the themes were a bit more sophisticated. I just thought it was better. Long Legs. I didn't think this was great. I just thought it was great for. Again, as a comedy, I probably would have given it a 7.8 or whatever. But I just don't think it.
Big delta there.
Yeah, I think it was just not.
Yeah, as a movie,
Perfectly done.
In general, yeah, I think I don't know. There were moments that I really enjoyed. You know, I even enjoyed more than Long Legs. Like I was laughing.
I enjoyed it more.
I was crying. I was throwing up. I'm literally everywhere. I was alone the whole time.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was good.
That's the
the
real
best-
reason you got kicked out of Clifton Commons.
Well, you loved it.
And I
thought.
like Stephen King. I really enjoy Stephen King's source material, and
I feel like your review
I think he's great.
Yeah,
biased
I
him.
totally deflated his shit.
I think he's great. No, I mean I think I think that's really low for this movie. Sorry, I'm obsessed with this movie. No, I'm joking.
Pick a fucking opinion, dude.
I'm sorry,
the range in which Brendan's thing could change by 2 right now, depending on the next word said in this room.
Listen, this movie wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. I think what it did really well was it made me laugh, and I walked out of there and I literally said to myself, I enjoyed that movie. What does that mean in terms of inanimate objects and putting them together into a score? That's actually pretty easy because I'm going to give it absolutely 8.5.
Wow. He overcompensated.
Well, I said
Dude, that
80.
was
I said
fucking
88%
roller
audience score.
coaster of a positive, negative, positive, negative. That's like the Key and Peele skit making fun of the cooking shows where they're like,
Oh, yeah.
he keeps going
That was
back and forth.
absolutely horrible. If I had bad taste.
Yeah. Bad, and I mean Michael Jackson bad, and not the good song, the way he looked. You know, it's like, okay.
So what about you, Abby?
You biased me now. No, I had a lot of fun. It was, I mean, looking back, it's barely a horror movie, but
just
I had a lot of fun.
It's going to be so forgettable. Like Alien, I gave a 9 because that did everything that he was trying to do fucking perfectly, and it was so entertaining and so much fun.
Bro, I forgot
say,
Alien
who do you
5
to say
minutes
that's
after
what
Alien.
He did
Alien
everything
is
he was
Fede
trying.
Alvarez?
He did everything he was trying to do.
Alien
perfectly.
was whatever.
Let's stop putting ourselves in the shoes of Fede Alvarez and say, how did it affect me? And if
put
you didn't
ourselves
like
in
it,
the shoes of
that's
Fetty
fine.
Wap, okay?
Let's put our 7, 6, 8, 19.
put our eyes-
If you're
Well,
gonna
let me see that
expose your
thing one
daddy
more
issues
time.
to the public,
Listen,
don't write in a priest that
All
makes
right, I'm
jokes
pissed now.
that doesn't even do anything.
There was a funny priest and I had to pee.
And there are not enough
Oh,
people in the
no.
town to be swingers.
There's not
Okay,
enough-
Abby, what do you? I got. Let's go. We got to wrap it up. Abby, what do you got? What do you got?
I'm gonna give it an 8.2. Little, tiny,
That's pride.
drumming quickly with
pride.
their drumsticks moving quickly, going so fast. Monkeys.
I love that, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And
that's higher than you gave a lot of movies.
I know I don't care.
Wait, can I get a rock?
No.
2 men and a big